Let me read you some of the recent video titles from one of the most watched political commentators on YouTube. U.S. Embassy in Europe under attack. Explosion. Breaking. Muslims attack New York City with bombs. Alex Jones, shock alien announcement. I was just briefed on Trump's global war plan. This is insane. That last one, that's from March 6th, 2026. A grown man with 6 million subscribers told his audience he was personally briefed by, and I'm quoting here, top-level Pentagon officials about Trump reconquering the world. He described it as the fourth turning, where empires rise and fall on the switch of a blade. That is not news. That's not even commentary. That's a man doing a spoken word audition for a Michael Bay movie and getting paid for it. His name is Benny Johnson, and today on Trap Check, we're not just going to talk about him, we're going to follow the money. Because once you see the business model, you can't unsee it. Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers are where the mask comes off. Benny Johnson's main YouTube channel has 6.1 million subscribers and 4.6 billion total views. He's uploaded more than 11,400 videos. His estimated YouTube AdSense revenue alone is somewhere between $500,000 and $2 million a month. That's per month. That's before sponsorships, before super chat donations from live streams, before merch, before speaking fees, before podcast ad reads. And the content factory never stops. He drops 1 to 4 videos a day, 5 days a week on his main show, The Benny Show, plus shorts, plus clips repackaged for Instagram, TikTok, X. It's a one-man Fox News, except at least Fox News has editorial standards. I said what I said. But here's the part that should make you pause. The New York Times reported that between April and July of 2025, Johnson gained nearly 3 million new subscribers. Sounds like explosive growth, right? Except during that same period, his total monthly views dropped by over 40 million. 3 million new subscribers, 40 million fewer views. You don't need a degree in analytics to know that those numbers don't add up. That's not organic growth. That's the smell of something artificial. And nobody in his audience is asking about it because the content just keeps pouring out. The machine doesn't pause for questions. Now you might think, okay, maybe the content is just resonating with people. Maybe he's saying things others won't. Let me show you what the product actually is. He's responsible for 3 YouTube channels. Benny Johnson, Benny on the Block, which I'm pretty sure is dead, and Benny's Brews, which I'm pretty sure is also dead. I mean, nothing quite says hard-hitting journalism like reviewing IPAs while explaining how the deep state operates, or whatever that channel was supposed to be. And the title on his remaining channel, every single one reads like a push notification from the apocalypse. Breaking, shock, insane, attack. Every thumbnail is either his face looking like he just saw someone keying his car or an AI-generated politician bathed in dramatic lighting. This is not political or social analysis. This is emotional engineering. Each video is a dopamine hit designed to keep you clicking, watching, and this is the important part, never actually learning anything. The average video is about 11 minutes. You want to know why? Because YouTube's algorithm favors videos over 8 minutes, because that's the threshold for mid-roll ads. So the content is literally shaped by monetization. The message isn't the product. The engagement is the product. The outrage is the product. And Benny, well, Benny's just the packaging. Here's what makes the whole thing start to look a little, cringy. If you actually Google Benny Johnson, and I honestly think you should, his resume reads like a masterclass in failing upwards. Benny Johnson started out in online media in the early 2010s. Breitbart, then The Blaze with Glenn Beck, and then BuzzFeed. At BuzzFeed, he was their viral politics editor, which, look, the job title alone should have been a red flag. His whole job was making political content go viral. That's not journalism. That's just digital marketing with a press badge that he probably printed at home. And in 2014, it all blew up. Twitter users started identifying plagiarism in his posts. BuzzFeed's editor-in-chief reviewed over 500 of Johnson's articles and found 41 confirmed instances of plagiarism. Nearly 5% of his entire body of work was lifted word for word from places like Wikipedia, Yahoo Answers, US News and World Report, and more. So BuzzFeed canned him. Now, in most industries, in most professions, that's the end for you. You plagiarize 41 times and you're done. You're out. Jason Blair at the New York Times, done. Stephen Glass at the New York Republic, done. Benny Johnson at BuzzFeed, he was unemployed for a handful of weeks. National Review hired him almost immediately. Then he jumped to the Independent Journal Review, where, I'm not even joking, he was accused of plagiarizing again and got suspended for promoting a conspiracy theory. He was warned it was a conspiracy theory, but he ran it anyway. He was also demoted after publishing an article based on a fake Antifa Twitter account that was actually just a parody account. I mean, you can't write this stuff. Well, he can't literally write this stuff. Get it? Do you get it? From there, the Daily Caller, then the chief creative officer at Turning Point, then Newsmax, then the YouTube empire where he now resides. Each stop bigger than the last, each scandal a trampoline instead of a trapdoor. It's important for me to note that I think that these organizations are a net positive for society, especially now that they've moved on from Mr. Johnson. And this is where the mechanism reveals itself. In the outrage economy, your credibility doesn't matter. Your reach matters. Benny's career doesn't survive in spite of the scandals, it thrives because of them. Every firing, every controversy, every debunking becomes a content cycle. It becomes a reason to post, to rage, to fundraise. The system doesn't punish dishonesty, it monetizes it. And honestly, and I'm only pointing the finger kind of softly here, it monetizes it because you watch it. Now let's talk about the part that should genuinely bother everyone regardless of where you sit politically. In September 2024, the Department of Justice unsealed an indictment alleging that 2 employees of RT, which is Russia's state media operation, had secretly funneled nearly $10 million through a Tennessee-based company called Tenet Media. The purpose? To hire American influencers to create content that aligned with Kremlin interests. Anti-Ukraine narratives, domestic division, election-related themes. Tenet Media's roster included Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, and, you guessed it, Benny Johnson. Now, to be clear, the indictment did not accuse the influencers of knowingly participating. Johnson called himself a victim of the scheme, but here are a few details that are worth sitting with. The money came through a fictional investor named Edward Gregorian, a person who didn't exist, funded by a government that very much does. Tim Pool was allegedly paid $100,000 per video. One influencer, unnamed in the indictment, said he'd need $5 million annually to be interested. Another was getting $400,000 a month, plus a signing bonus. And when Poole, Rubin, and Johnson were asked whether they'd return or donate the money, none of them publicly committed to giving it back, not a dime. They claimed victimhood and kept it moving, right back to the content machine. Now, I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't give it back either, but I don't think any of them did any hard swings to distance themselves from the Tenet problem, well, except for maybe Tim Pool. The Columbia Journalism Review noted that the RT employees got frustrated because the influencers kept promoting their own brand instead of Tenet's, which is almost funny. Russia spent $10 million and couldn't even get these guys to stop being self-promotional. That's the grift within the grift. It's also just YouTube. But here's the trap. The one TrapThink is always pointing at. The audience never heard about the money. The audience didn't know that the guy telling him who to trust was being funded by a foreign government through a fake person. And by the time the indictment came out, the content had already done its work. The narratives were already in circulation. The engagement was already banked. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's a DOJ indictment. There's a difference. You'd think that kind of thing might slow someone down. A plagiarism scandal that should have ended a career. A federal indictment naming a company that you worked for as a Russian influence front. You'd think maybe you'd take a beat, reflect, recalibrate. Instead, Benny posted 4 videos the next day. Because that's the model. The content never stops. And when the content never stops, the audience never has time to think. There's always new outrage, a new emergency, a new reason to stay tuned. And when he's not pushing someone else's narrative, he's manufacturing his own. In August 2025, Johnson showed up at a White House press briefing, seated in the new media seat. And he told the press secretary on camera that he had witnessed murders on his Ring doorbell camera and that his house was set ablaze in an arson with his infant child inside. Now this is powerful stuff, except the New York Times actually pulled the police and fire reports. No one's been killed on his block since at least 2017. The fire? It was at a neighbor's house. His home was not burned down. He sensationalized a real and genuinely scary nearby event and repackaged it as his own personal tragedy on camera at the White House. When the Times published the investigation, Johnson called them evil bastards and posted the security camera footage. The reporter who wrote the piece responded point by point, noting that Johnson's own post contained multiple additional falsehoods about the article debunking his previous falsehoods. It's lies all the way down. And this isn't a one-off. After the Brown University shooting last December, Johnson claimed without evidence that the victim, who was a college Republicans activist, was targeted for her political views. We now know that there were multiple victims, including an MIT professor. He then shared the identity of a Palestinian student he claimed was the shooter. That student was not the shooter. A completely different person was later identified, but by then the post had already done its damage, and we were several hundred videos into the Benny Johnson pipeline. This is the content machine at full speed. Accuracy is not the goal. Attention is the goal. And every correction, every debunking, every fact check becomes more content. The machine feeds on its own exhaust. Okay, here's the trap check landing, so pay attention. I could spend this whole episode dunking on Benny Johnson. It's not hard. The man plagiarized 41 times and got fired for it, kept getting hired, took money from a company funded by Russian intelligence, fabricated a crime story at the White House, falsely identified a shooting suspect, and posts AI-generated videos of himself as Batman punching people in sombreros. The jokes write themselves. Actually, knowing Benny, someone else probably wrote them. Outrage is the jet fuel, and as long as the algorithm rewards the burn, the Bennys of the world will keep pouring it on. Benny Johnson churns out 4 videos a day and is on the political right. But don't be fooled into thinking that means conservatives are the ones who, do this. The machine works on outrage no matter who you are. Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Bill O'Reilly, Officer Tatum, and others exist to serve the right, but mostly to fill their own pockets. Brian Tyler Cohen, Occupy Democrats, Rachel Maddow, Midas Touch, Keith Olbermann, they all serve their political left masters too. And yeah, they're all rich, thanks to the algorithm and viewers like you. But if Benny Johnson disappeared tomorrow, if his channel went dark, if the podcast stopped, if the thumbnail stopped screaming, the machine wouldn't skip a beat. Someone else would fill the slot by Thursday because this isn't about one guy, it's about a system. The outrage economy has created a pipeline. Take a personality, give them a platform, reward engagement over accuracy, monetize every click, every view, every emotional reaction, insulate them from accountability by turning every criticism into proof of persecution, and then hit repeat. Benny Johnson didn't invent this. He's just really, really good at it. And by good at it, I mean he's figured out that you don't need to be credible. You don't need to be original. You don't even need to be correct. You just need to be consistent. 11,000 videos, 6 million subscribers, billions of views. And the question I want to leave you with is simple. What did you actually learn from any of it? And the question after that is, why do you watch it then? This has been TrapThink. I'm Darren. Stay sharp, think free, and I'll see you next week.